wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on! Jacob is in! Touchdown, Green Bay! Jacobs in the eye, he'll get it. Jacobs struck it in. Touchdown number 2 of the day. Jacobs, no shot, barreling forward. Touchdown again, number 3 for Jacobs in Green Bay.
Kevin Burkhardt on the call last night for Fox Sports alongside Tom Brady as Josh Jacobs of the Green Bay Packers. Not 1, not 2, but 3 rushing touchdowns. It's a huge fantasy day for him. Huge day in general for the Green Bay Packers. They roll the 49ers 38-10. And I might have a different opinion than most after yesterday, or maybe 49er fans are going to feel the same way. I don't know. I want to hear from you guys, though. 888-957-9570. That's the number to call or text the Comcast Biz text on it. Good morning to all you lovely people on this Thanksgiving week. If you're on vacation, if you're still working, if you're off on school break, whatever it is you're doing, appreciate you chiming in here. Appreciate you listening for the next hour. You got me, Joe Spadoni, before handing it off to the morning roast, Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. There's a lot to get into this game, and we got 3 segments to do it. So let's just dive right in. You know, you learn at Brandon Allen, who is starting in place of Brock Purdy on Friday. You learn that there's not going to be a Nick Bosa. And you also learn there's not going to be Charvarius Ward. And then Sunday morning, no Trent Williams. So you can make the argument 3 of the Niners' best players out. Their top 3 players. The quarterback, always the most important. Doesn't matter. He's gone. Nick Bosa, best player defensively, not going to play. And then your best left tackle, who might be the best player in the league, although this season, he hasn't looked like it. This season, Trent Williams has looked his age. Still better than the rest, mostly. And you know what? That is still saying something because he is a Hall of Famer. But for his standards, he has not lived up to them, especially after the holdout that he did over the summer for his new contract. So no Trent Williams, no Brock Purdy, no Nick Bosa, no Charvarius Ward. You're on your backup punter. You got a lot of stuff happening to this team right now. Dre Greenlaw's still out. No Hufanga. No Javon Hargrave. I mean, was yesterday's result surprising? Are you shocked by yesterday's results? Because I'm not. There at no point in that game, especially after the first drive that ended in this.
Loves looking for Jaden Reed. Not there. Goes back the other way. Sets up a screen. Bouncing off of people and into the end zone. It's Tucker Kraft for the touchdown.
At no point after that opening drive for the Green Bay Packers, where they just methodically just kicked your ass, Nick Sorensen and co. Josh Jacobs, it was a dominating performance. That was a humbling performance if you're on defense yesterday. If you're Fred Warner, if you're Devondre Campbell, if you're Diamador Lenore, if you're any of these guys, Leonard Floyd. Oh, by the way, Leonard Floyd, 2-sack performance. And what it turned out to be a game where he had no chance. I like to have that performance in a tight game. But there was no point as Josh Jacobs was pulling a Shang Tsung Mortal Kombat snatching souls that I felt like the Niners, Brandon Allen, Christian McCaffrey, hell, George Kittle even had a good game. Kittle, best player on the Niners offensively by far this season. He's not enough, though. 1 tight end is not enough. And it's unfortunate because right now in the NFL, it feels like having a good tight end is a luxury. There's not a lot of them. And you have the best one, I would argue. Him, Bowers, Kelsey. Like, you have a luxury there. And every time he goes out and has a good performance, like he has had, feels like a wasted performance in a loss. Then you got the likes of Deebo Samuel, who was called out last week, if you might recall, on the morning roast by another 49ers wide receiver, a former 49ers receiver, I should say. Terrell Owens, the Hall of Famer.
Debo is not really playing up to Debo standards. Debo seems like he's more focused on his pregame attire than he is actually the game. So again, if we can shift that focus, maybe that can energize and create some more production, from an offensive standpoint. I'm just kind of tongue in cheek with that.
And as you might recall, Debo Samuel responded on Twitter. T.O., cut it out, fam, end quote. That was it. And then you had the ninja emoji. So, what did Debo go out and do in Green Bay? Well, he had one reception for 21 yards. No, that was it. There was nothing else. That was it. One reception, 21 yards. Sooner or later, injuries catch up with you. Sooner or later, all the crap and drama that took place with this team on the offseason catches up with you. And it's been there, and it's been apparent all season long. Brandon Ayuk out for the year. Again, all the guys I've mentioned have been out for the year. It's just your depth on the defensive line was glaring yesterday in all the negative ways. No Nick Bosa, you're up. Great. Leonard Floyd. Yeah, they had some sacks. Great. How's that run defense going? Josh Jacobs, 26 carries, 106 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Emmanuel Wilson, who? 9 carries, 41 yards for him. They almost 170 yards on the ground. I'm not going to be outraged by this loss because I'm personally not shocked. Why? Because the Niners have shown all season long they have been unable to beat good teams. They have not beat a team over 500 this season. Think about that. They have not beaten a team over 500 this season. Oh, but the Seahawks, no. 500 football team. I'm not giving you that one. 38-10, the final. 49er faithful. Do you still got faith in this team? As you head to Buffalo, and we'll wait on the status of one Brock Purdy. But gotta be honest, I saw a Schefter report that came out only a couple hours after a rap sheet. Daniel Jones is expected to have interest in, I don't know if it was the teams that had interest in Daniel Jones or vice versa, but I saw 3 teams in the name Daniel Jones, and I was like, oh boy. The Baltimore Ravens, a backup for Lamar, sure. If Lamar goes down, their season's over anyway, so whatever. The Las Vegas Raiders, and this was prior to Gardner Minshew getting out for the season, breaking his collarbone. So the Raiders, who will probably pivot to Aiden O'Connell this week as they have a Black Friday football matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Ravens, the Raiders, and the third team interested potentially in Daniel Jones or vice versa? San Francisco 40 bleepin' Niners. Can you believe it, baby? Danny Dimes? We don't want him here in the Bay after watching that Brendan Allen performance? Why not? It's just... Hey, I've come to learn from some very tough fandom in my lifetime. Losing a baseball team, losing a football team. You gotta laugh at the pain, Kyle Draper. That's all you can do. Niner fans, you gotta laugh at the pain right now. Because crying about it and being angry about it, it's not good for your health. That's what I've learned. Is this Aldino or Aldino? Al? Let's go to Aldino out in Wisconsin. What's up, Aldino? How you doing, man? You're on the pregame show.
I'm doing good, bro. How you doing?
Great. It's a little wet this morning, but we're doing good.
What is Kyle Shanahan doing, bro? Why is he playing Josh Allen over Dobbs? Like, he got me scratching my head, my boy. Why?
Brandon Allen, yeah. If they had Josh Allen, I'd understand, but yes.
I'm sorry. Brandon Allen. Oh, my God, bro.
Hey,
Why?
Aldino, are you a Packers fan or are you a Niners fan out in Wisconsin?
I'm a Niners fan, bro. I'm from San Jose. I moved to Wisconsin like 8 years ago, bro.
Did you go to the game?
But, no, I watched it at home, bro.
Probably smart. Yeah.
Thank God I didn't go to the game. 'Cause, oh, my God, man.
It's a good question. No, Aldino, it really is a good question. I don't know why. I don't know why they went Brandon Allen, considering the guy has had a broken finger in his off throwing hand for 2 weeks. And he fumbled the ball multiple times. I don't get it.
He hasn't played in 3 damn seasons, bro. Like, oh my God, man. Oh, I'm done with Kyle, bro.
You're done with Kyle Shanahan?
I'm done with Kyle. Huh?
You're done with Kyle Shanahan already?
I'm done with Kyle, bro. You got me scratching my head at times like, what are you doing, bro? How would you play this guy with a broken finger? I know it's not his throwing hand, but still, like, over a healthy quarterback on the sideline. Come on, man. Like, why? It makes no sense.
I get it. Thank you, Aldino. That's Aldino, 888-957-9570. He's all the way out in Wisconsin. He's hurting as a Niner fan. He's hurting from San Jose. I get it. Is Josh Dobbs changing the outcome of yesterday's performance? I don't know. I think it couldn't have hurt, right? He must be that bad in practice. That's what that tells me. Sam and I were talking about it heading into the station this morning. You could have used his legs at least, right? The scrambling ability. Like, that's what was apparent for me. That was what was most glaring. You're missing that. I mean, that's what Brock Purdy gives you, that extra scramble. Now, the problem with Brock's season thus far is obviously he didn't play this past weekend, but he's been looking to scramble a little bit too much at times. He hasn't been checking down those underneath routes to a Christian McCaffrey, to a Deebo Samuel, to whoever is out there, a Jordan Mason. And that's another guy a lot of Niner fans are frustrated not seeing a lot because Christian McCaffrey it's not looking like Christian McCaffrey right now. Now, you can say there's no holes open. You can say the offensive line's getting dominated. But even in space, he's not looking like Christian McCaffrey. 11 carries, 31 yards for him on the ground, and then in the receiving, 3 receptions, 37 yards. He had a play here or there. The out routes were there, and Brandon Allen's trying to use that to his advantage. He does have a stronger arm than Brock, which apparently is, you can't say that on air. Oh, you can't say that on the social webs. You get in trouble. No, Brandon Allen's he's a strong arm. Problem is, that culminated in what, 10 points? And that's why Brock Purdy is a damn good quarterback, because he's not reliant on arm strength, and there's a lot more to being a quarterback than, again, arm strength. But you can do some things better when you have a stronger arm. And they were doing those out routes and trying to get it out quick. And they had some success, but not enough. And then you have an interception, you have a turnover on downs, you have a fumble. You just weren't winning on the road against the Packers, against Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur, and Josh Jacobs. That wasn't happening yesterday. Now, quickly, you got to start looking ahead to next week, and we got all week to do that, obviously, but the season could be falling apart in front of our eyes, and it might be falling apart in front of our eyes, because you're going to be playing a Buffalo Bills squad that, I know, Rob, 888-957-9570, Robbie, if you're out there. But the Bills are going to be coming off a bye. Sunday Night Football in Buffalo, New York in December. I have a hard time seeing them winning that one, but you know what? If you get Brock Purdy back, you got a chance. If you have to go with Brandon Allen or the Pastronaut Josh Dobbs, you got no shot. You know what? Maybe take a flyer on Danny Dimes, right? Right?
At the very least, it would just be really, really fun.
I want the chaos. Why not? Come on.
Hey, what do you have really to play for the rest of the year?
Hey, I'll say this. Lost cause first round picks. Sam Darnold looking pretty good yesterday. Did he not? Now, I know having 1 week of preparation and Daniel Jones is the backup. It's probably a little different than having an entire year under Kyle Shanahan in his offense. But
still take that over Brandon Allen.
I would, honestly...
How much worse could Daniel Jones be than Brandon Allen?
Hey, I'm starting to think it was just the Giants all along. Did you see Tommy DeVito just getting absolutely eviscerated yesterday? And Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay Bucks just trolling that entire team.
It's not a very well-run organization.
Oh, my God. Jesus. And I root for the Pisons. I do. I love me some Tommy Cutlets. All right? But that just was embarrassing. New York Giants are the worst team in the NFL. I know the Jags are there. I know the Raiders are there. They're all top 3, but New York Giants suck. Oh. You know, even is harder when you have like a middling season like this for the Niners, because I've been a part of it. You've been part of it as fans. Having a middling season, and the Warriors have kind of experienced this, you don't get the creme de la creme of draft picks. So not only do you have all the pain and suffering of a losing season, or a season where maybe it's like 9-8 or an 8-9, you don't get a good draft pick. Or if you do, it's not going to be one of the best. Creme
de la creme.
Creme de la creme. I love that drop. What was that from the Stallion Gill? Oof. Kyle Shanahan. Those penalties, brother. Talk to me.
They had 12 personnel, 2 tight ends in the huddle, which means we have base defense out. They sent another receiver on the field to sub, which when they sub, they're supposed to allow us to sub. So as soon as they did that, we started to change our personnel, and then they rushed up to the line and snapped it. It was a strategic play by them, but one that I don't feel should have been allowed. They didn't give us time to sub on that, and that's why I was upset on that. And then the next one, because they got away with the first one, they tried to do it again the next play, and that's when I went out there arguing again. This time they did allow us to sub. I was out there screaming the whole time, so I'm not exactly aware of what happened with our 12 guys, but obviously we had 12 guys out there. They gave us time to sub, and we didn't get one off. So the second one was on us.
I'm sorry, Kyle. You can say whatever you want to. You want to nitpick. You want to parse words. Fact of the matter is, you had 12 men on the field in back-to-back plays. One after a timeout. What are we doing? What are we doing? That's a reflection of poor coaching. Whether that's on you, whether that's on Sorensen, I don't care who it's on. Yesterday was a reflection of poor coaching, which is something I don't say often in the Kyle Shanahan era. It's one thing to not have your starting quarterback, to not have your starting left tackle, to not have, a starting wide receiver. You're missing a bunch of guys. But to just be bad at the little things like that, when you still have a leader on defense and Fred Warner out there, it's unacceptable. It really is. And you got Keyshawn Nixon of the Green Bay Packers, former Raider, by the way, secondary player for Green Day, talking that talk after the game. Quote, "It's the NFL. It's not an excuse. We didn't have our quarterback. We won 3 games, so we don't want to hear that. We came to play. They should have came to play." That was Keyshawn Nixon on not wanting to hear that the 49ers were banged up. And you know what? He's right. He is. But at the same time, when it's the left tackle, when it's quarterback, when you've already lost your starting defensive tackle and starting wide receiver 1, you're on a backup punter, for Christ's sake. It's just, sooner or later, you're not going to win. And yes, Malik Willis did win 3 games for the Green Bay Packers. And again, that speaks to the importance of a backup quarterback and their responsibility. But Brandon Allen is not Malik Willis. Brandon Allen, is not and it's a bad example because he hasn't been good this year, but in the past, a Gardner Minshew, who has won games as back, like Jameis Winston. Brandon Allen is not. And that's why I think fans like Aldino out in Wisconsin are frustrated that you didn't see Josh Dobbs, because we saw Josh Dobbs last year not knowing a single play, it felt like, in the playbook for the Minnesota Vikings coming over from the Arizona Cardinals. And what did he do when he was thrust in there? They won the game. And he was amazing. It was the Pastronaut, and it was Josh Dobbs fever. It was like a Linsanity for a few weeks, and then went back to looking like a backup quarterback. But you know what? That's okay after I got 2 wins from you. Does Josh Dobbs win that game yesterday? Probably not. But would have had a better opportunity to win it over Brandon Allen. That much I know. Speaking of the quarterback, let's hear from him. He did throw that pick. A lot of people think it was Debo's fault. A lot of people think it was Brandon Allen's fault. Whose fault was it, Brandon?
Tight window. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. But
Obviously a tough catch. If he was going to catch it, it'd be a really tough catch. But, I got a lot of trust in Debo. I'd probably throw it again, but definitely a tough contested catch, tough throw, but didn't work out for us.
How'd the rain factor in the second half and the elements?
Yeah, it started snowing, rain, whatever, in the second half a little bit, so just made it a little bit slicker, and it kind of killed us on two. I had one play, I could have got it to JJ, started slipping on it, and then the fumble, that one's still right on top of my mind right now. Just brutal, but yeah, it's just unfortunate.
Rain, snow, isn't that sleet? Whatever you want to call that. It was getting ugly in that second half for the weather and for the 49ers. 888-957-9570. I want to hear from you, Faithful. How are you feeling after that loss yesterday? That's it. Hey, I'm not angry. I'm not mad. But I'm disappointed in the season as a whole for the San Francisco 49ers. And if you're a parent or if you are a son or a daughter at one point, you've heard that. And sometimes that hurts even more. I'm not mad. Just disappointed. Kyle Shanahan on the team trying to get back in the second half.
When you play first half like that, you got to be on in the second half. And I loved how we came out on that kick return. Thought that was going to give us some huge momentum. Got called back with that penalty. So we had to go on a long, good drive. On that drive, I think we got stopped on 4th and 2. But our defense, I think, held them to a 3 and out. So we got it right back. And we were driving, and that seemed like a hell of a throw. They had some soft zone, and he threaded in there between their two backers and looked like it went off Debo's hands. And that was huge because we were trying to get back in the game, but also because they got a big return and got 7 points off of it.
So the 49ers fall to 5-6. They are still in last place in the NFC West. The Los Angeles Rams, also at 5-6, obviously have the tiebreak scenario over them with a win already. 49ers will face the Rams, though, again this season, just like they'll face the Arizona Cardinals in the last game of the regular season. The Cardinals, they fell head-to-head to the Seattle Seahawks, so the Cardinals fall from 6-4 to 6-5, and that means the Seattle Seahawks at 6-5, by virtue of the tiebreak, are the leaders in the clubhouse for the NFC West. Just like we all predicted. God, what an insane division. No one wants to hear that this morning at 5:22 a.m. because it doesn't feel like they should be in the race for the NFC West. But they are. They're right there. And a win in Buffalo, I know as crazy as it sounds, would change your entire outlook on the season if you beat that Buffalo Bills squad in Buffalo. But what has this team shown you this season to make you believe in that? I'll tell you what, diddly poo. That's what they've shown you. They can't beat good teams. Because good teams beat good teams. Or a fluke happens. Hell, the Carolina Panthers almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday. Tennessee Titans, divisional game. Nonetheless, they beat the Houston Texans. Why? Houston Texans made boneheaded mistakes. Cleveland Browns beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, that could happen. 49ers just, they're not even the Browns right now. At least Jameis is giving you something. Good Lord. I'm grasping here this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I am. It's just been exhausting to talk about this team. I wish I had some more exciting news over the weekend, but the Warriors, they lost to the Spurs, 104-94. They didn't look great. It was a disappointing performance from them, too. They're still top in their conference, though, so it's not the same feeling. From the Comcast Business text line, Niners are done. This from the 415. Take the rest of the season off. They're not done, though. I just laid out why they're not. But you look at the schedule coming up. Bills, all right. Bears, Rams, Dolphins, Lions, Cardinals. 6 games to go. Whew. And we can do this exercise later in the week, but I am curious to see what 49ers fans' predictions are on that record with 6 games to go. And we'll do that as the week goes on. We got Thanksgiving this week. We got Black Friday. And I'll be in Wednesday and Friday on the morning show. So we got pregame show the next 2 days here, today and tomorrow. I'll be filling in from 6 to 10 with Shasky Wednesday and with the great Sam Lubman on Friday because we are going to be live and local all day on Black Friday. 888-957-9570. Kyle Shanahan, did you feel that was an embarrassing loss?
I'm really not concerned right now about how many guys we missed today. We don't play good enough, so that's not a factor. But when you are missing some guys, you do have to be better. And when you have those penalties, when we didn't stop the run like we did, and then having those 3 turnovers in the second half, that's how you get embarrassed.
I expect the 49ers, if Brock Purdy is back, to have a balls-to-the-wall performance Sunday in Buffalo. They should be pissed off. They should be angry. They shouldn't be holding their heads down. They shouldn't be moping. I want to hear the anger in these guys' voices. I want to hear Fred Warner and Kelvin Will on the other side. I want to hear the anger in his voice, the frustration, because that's what the fans are feeling right now. And you hope that the actual players are reciprocating those type of emotions. And they're giving you that passion that a lot of the 49ers fans felt at the start of the season, and as slowly, as the losses have piled up, dissipated. That passion's been waning. And when you get to the mountaintop, not once but twice, and you fall back down, this is what usually happens. You try to get back up, and those layers of snow, if you will, it gets harder and harder to overcome. And right now, the season is on the brink for the San Francisco 49ers as they fall 38-10 to the Green Bay Packers. 888-957-9570. One segment down, 2 more to go. Your thoughts, 49ers fans. Is this season over? It feels over. But again, you're 1 game out. Or is that a pipe dream on 95.7 The Game?
Hey, holiday heroes. It's a special time of year at Shane Company. As a family business...
tough. They hit you, they're behind the chains. Especially in an environment like that, you don't really want to be in third and longs all the time, which is really tough. And then when you are in third and longs, they can bring the pressure, they can do all this stuff to just kind of mess with you. And they did a really good job about that all day. And I feel like they were in a lot of third and shorts, and then the third and longs, they covered all those, and we just didn't. We couldn't stay on the field besides our one long drive in the end of the second. We were moving the ball, but we just didn't finish.
George Kittle yesterday as the 49ers fall to 5-6 with the loss to the Green Bay Packers 38-10. The penalties, not finishing the game, just being sloppy, was not a good performance from San Francisco, who had Brandon Allen filling in for Brock Purdy, who was obviously dealing with a shoulder soreness. They said there's nothing too serious about it. They're hoping that he could play in Buffalo, but we'll see how it responds this week because I don't know. I don't know what to tell you with Brock Purdy and his shoulder right now. I don't think that's something that's just going to automatically get better either as the season goes on because he's going to take shots, especially if he plays in this Bills game. So you're dealing with that. Christian McCaffrey doesn't look like himself. He's dealing with his bilateral Achilles tendonitis. I mean, you just watched the burst between the two running backs, the difference, and the Josh Jacobs and the Christian McCaffrey yesterday, who, alongside Derrick Henry, have been probably the three best running backs in football the last few seasons. Just Josh Jacobs had it all. He had the burst, he had the wiggle, he had the strength. Now, he doesn't have the downright speed of a Christian McCaffrey, but it's not just that you're seeing with McCaffrey, that you saw Jacobs yesterday. It's that lateral movement. It's jumping to the side. It's a quick cut and then a quick burst. And he's such a load to bring down, even for his size, that you saw those missed tackles just all game long. And credit to Matt LaFleur for exposing it. He's like, they can't stop the run. Why would we stop running with Josh Jacobs? 3 touchdowns, 160 yards on the ground for Jacobs. Huge fantasy day. Just a crazy day in the NFL as well. I think Joe Davis said it best. Obviously, Fox Sports commentator. The worst day in NFL history when it comes to special teams. And it really was. There was missed kick after missed extra point, after fumble, after botched, punts, just everything was going down yesterday in special teams. And as Sam alluded to, the special teams day started with Jake Moody slipping as he was kicking the ball to the Green Bay Packers in the opening drive. Sign of things to come? Yeah. Richard, he's out in Burlingame. He wants to join in the conversation. 888-957-9570. Richard, what's going on, man? You're on the pregame show.
Not much. But I think that the game that's really going to determine the season is the Bears game. Because if the Niners lose, which I think they will, they'll be 5-7. Now, if they beat the Bears, they could still go 10-7 and have a chance. But if they lose to Buffalo and the Bears, then they're going to have 8 losses, and 9-8 is not going to do it. So to me, the Bears game, and Caleb Williams is playing better. Bears defense is pretty good. That's a game that the Niners can lose.
Richard, are you a Bears fan?
It's going to define the season.
Rich, you a Bears fan?
Yeah,
I can tell
I
you.
am,
the way you said the Bears,
saying.
the way you said the Bears got me. I love that.
Oh,
yeah.
But I am. But I'm just saying, as an objective person, I think that Bears game is going to really determine the Niners. Not so much next week, but the Bears, because if they lose to that team and they're 8 losses, there's no way in hell they're going to make the playoffs. And the Bears are capable of beating the 49ers.
Hey, Richard, that was a tough loss for the Bears yesterday after making that comeback the way they did to lose in overtime. That must have hurt.
Well, football, what can you do? But that's my point. I think the Bears game is really more of the season defining the next week.
There you go,
and
Richard.
The Bears could very well beat the Niners. I wouldn't be surprised.
There you go. That's Richard out in Burlingame. Didn't mean to cut you off there at the end, Richard. Bears fan, but hey, don't sleep on the Chicago Bears, what he's saying. I don't think the 49ers could sleep on anyone. That's like the way this season is right now. They can lose to anyone. I know we say any given Sunday, and that part of that is true. But this Niners team they can't sleep on anyone the rest of the season. We talked about that ad nauseum. So we're not, first off, you're not overlooking the Buffalo Bills. You can't, because I don't think there's a person in hell that thinks they're going to win that game. But again, that's why they play the game. But Chicago, the Rams, the Dolphins, there's no slouch remaining on. There's not like a Raiders, they're not Jags, they're not Giants remaining on the schedule. And even those teams, if they were to play them, I wouldn't give the Niners, that's a lock. Please. The Niners' most impressive victory this season was over a dumpster fire New York Jets in week 1. And they scored like 50 field goals in that one. No, I'm not giving them the Cowboys win because the Cowboys almost came back and they had a chance to drive and win that game at the end. I knew Dak was going to do Dak things. That's what happened. By the way, Thanksgiving, Tommy DeVito and Cooper Rush. Oh, really? I guess that's better than Danny Dimes and Cooper Rush. Just slightly. Why did Thanksgiving do that? Can't we always just have 3 good games on Thanksgiving? It used to be the Lions game was crap. Now we got Lions, and who is it? Lions Bears, right? Is that the opening game? Or is that, yeah, it's the early morning game. Good. I'll be interested in that one. Because Caleb actually showed some signs of life yesterday. He looked like he was a first overall pick. I'll be interested in that one. I'll be interested to see, who is it? Packers on Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken. Dolphins, Packers. There we go. And on Black Friday, Raiders, Chiefs. Raiders are crap, but we've seen a bad Raiders team beat the Chiefs before. But the Cowboys and the Giants. Ugh. No one wants that. What I want right now, what I need Chris in San Jose. He'll pick me up on a Monday. What's going on, Chrissy?
Hey, Spadoni. Listen, man, I don't know if I'm going to be the one that's going to be able to pick you up today because that was atrocious. 38-10. I know you're missing a lot of big pieces. We get it. You know, starting quarterback, like you said, most important position and, you know, probably all across sports. And yeah, they just, again, 12 men. I saw something that made me chuckle. Man, you know it's a bad day when the Niners have more men on the field twice than they did total points. And it's so, again, despite the fact that you don't have your best guys out there, the coaching was abysmal. You got out-coached on both sides. Again, not buttoned up. And all of that, to me, comes back to Shanahan at the end of the day. We've talked about it before. I'm not saying fire the guy. I know the grass isn't always greener, but, I mean, you're not buttoned up as an organization, period. And then this guy, the last guy, the Bears fan, he's talking about us going 9-8. 9-8 is the absolute very best that we're going to do. We're not beating the Bills. Detroit is going to absolutely run all over us. I'm calling 200 rushing yards against Detroit. So Arizona, Bears, Dolphins, another game against the Rams in the division. I think we're going to be under 500 when it's all said and done. So I'm sorry I can't be the guy to pick you up today because it's in shambles. And I know I touched on it last week, but to me, you got to go. It's just you got to go full rebuild because they're going to have another year of mediocrity again next year. It's not going to be good enough. The trenches aren't going to be good enough. DMC older, Kittle older, Debo should be gone. I actually said trade Debo 2 seasons ago when he had real value, and everybody was less aware that he's literally just a gadget guy that you have to flip the ball to, and he has to make magic happen out of it. It's bad, Spadoni. So I'm preaching full rebuild because if we do it one more year, another year of mediocrity, you're further along down the line and you're further away from getting back to the peak
Hey, Chris,
of NFL success.
Before you go, what'd you make of Debo refusing to talk to the media yesterday?
Terrible leader. I mean, I've known that about him for a long time. The guy's not a leader. He has a good game. He wants to talk. You know, he wants to get on. I don't know what it is about athletes these days. I know there's money to be made outside the game, but everybody just running to their little podcast to, you know, answer the question like a man. You want to act tough? You got the second best 49ers receiver all time, Terrell Owens, calling you out. That dude was a dog. That dude played on a broken leg when he was in Philly and almost single-handedly took them to win a Super Bowl. So, you know, when you got a straight dog, Hall of Famer, one of the best 5 receivers all time calling you out, and you don't rise to the occasion, and then you tuck your tail and you run off the podium, that's on you. That's a bad look. Rip the C off of his chest. He's not a captain. He's not a Niner anymore after this year. So if he wants to sulk and be a little baby the rest of the way, that's on you, Debo. But guess what? To me, brother, you're just showing what I've always known. You're showing your true colors. So that's what I got to say about that, Spadoni. I'm going to walk it off here. Let's have a not-so-manic Monday. Let's drive safe in the rain. It's not the end of the day. We're going to make some money today. Go home to your family, kids, whatever you got in your life. just take pride in that, because the Niners, you can't take any pride in them right now. It is abysmal. Love you, Spadoni. Have a good one, brother.
There he is. Chris in San Jose, a staple here on the pregame show. 2 segments down, 1 more to go. We'll react to that. Chris not happy with Deebo Samuel. I don't think a lot of fans are after that. After getting called out from T.O., after going at the long snapper, Tabor Pepper, like he did the other week. Is this Deebo's last year in San Francisco? That's definitely a possibility. It might be a lot of players last year in San Francisco. This might be, kind of a changing of the guard season. Not just in the standings and not just within the division, but within the own team and the players and the personnel and the coaches. But after all that and after saying all that, they got a chance still. I know no one. I duck my head every time I bow my head. I get it. This team has not shown you that they deserve to have that. They have a chance kind of talk. I'm just speaking the facts, people. That's all I'm doing. 888-957-9570. Another fact is we got a break. One more segment before handing it off to Bonta and Chasky on 95.7 The Game.
At Makita, good enough is never enough. It's not just about the power and runtime of the tool. It's about the power and runtime of the pro. We design, tinker, redesign, and obsess over every detail.
Dub Nation, it's Steve Kerr. You're listening to the Pregame Show with Joe Spadoni on 95.7 The Game.
Thanks, Steve. Warriors fall to the Spurs over the weekend, 104-94. They take on the Brooklyn Nets tonight at Chase Center. Coverage of that with Warriors Live starting at 6 o'clock. And then the voice of the Warriors, Tim Roy, will have the call at 7. Again, Warriors Nets tonight at Chase Center. Be there, be square. It'd be nice to wash out that bad taste in your mouth if you're a Niners fan with the Warriors dub tonight with the Dubs right here on 95.7 The Game, your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. All right, enough about the Dubs because it's a football Monday. It's a Monster Monday. It's a reaction Monday. We want to hear from the fans. That's what we do at 95.7 The Game. We want, as Steiny says, we want to talk with you, not at you. And let's kick that off. We've already had Chris in San Jose. We've had our guy out in Burlingame, Richard, and Aldino out in Wisconsin. I just want to say Aldino. Right now, Aldino. Now we got Kiko. Is this Kiko Alonso? He's out in Brentwood. What's up, Kiko?
Hey, what's up, Spadoni? I just want to say that last call by Chris was right on. I think that's how we're feeling right now, and I think we're done. So a couple weeks ago, I called in. I gave you some stuff because you're a Raider fan, talking about the Niners season being not the same, and you're absolutely right. So let me ask you this, Spadoni: how many losses do we need to get Hunter from from Colorado?
Oof. That's a Travis Hunter, who's
what do we need
the
to be in
Heisman
top
guy?
5?
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know if you're going to be bad enough. That's the problem, Kiko. And that's what I was alluding to earlier. You have to be a top 10 bad team. And the Niners, I think, just have too many wins right now. I mean, you start looking at where teams are. I don't think people realize, Kiko, just how bad the NFL is this year. There's a lot of bad teams. So this is not, if you chose to be a bad team this year, it's actually not a great time because look what we got. We got Jacksonville, Giants, Raiders, all at 2-9. Those are the top 3 picks. Then you got New England, Carolina, Tennessee, New York, Cleveland, New Orleans, Cincinnati, Dallas, Chicago. That's already the top 12 with just 4 fewer wins. And the Niners already got 5. So they're not even going to crack the top 10 probably. So yeah, unless you're trading up, which I have a hard time thinking they're going to do, Kiko, I don't think they're going to be able to get a Travis Hunter, unfortunately.
Got you. Well, I appreciate you, Spadoni. Hope you have a good week, brother.
Thanks, bro. Look at that. That was a nice, respectful call from Kiko. Hey, he just wanted to know. I get it. Hey, as fans, and that just speaks to where he's already at, his mindset. He's already in draft mode. When's the last time the Niners were in draft mode? When you were just thinking about that? I mean, 2020, after that first Super Bowl loss, when it was kind of a lost season, and then what did they do? They pivoted and traded a haul to try to get Trey Lance. And if they didn't hit on Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch might be gone. So it's still a crapshoot. Do the 49ers trade a boatload of picks to try to get Travis? I don't think they're one piece away. Now, he's an exciting player. He's electric. I get all that. Colorado, by the way, bad loss over the weekend to Kansas. Big 12 talk. That would be sick, though. Travis Hunter, I think any team would want. Jacksonville, I mean, they already paid Trevor Lawrence, so they got a boatload of options, and they're probably going to be looking at a rebuild, I would assume. Doug Peterson's probably gone. I don't know if Trent Baalke, again, we called him the cockroach last week. I don't know if he'll survive yet another multi-coach regime. He did survive Harbaugh. He survived Tom Sula. Didn't survive Kelly. So, third time not the charm for Trent Baalke. We'll see. You got to Google it. He's got a raspier voice. Trent Baalke or Doc Rivers? Doc, at least, like, his is when he just, like, keeps talking too much and yells too much. It turns into that. I think Trent just had, that's just his voice. It's just, he's watching The Godfather too much as a kid. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But God, Kiko's he's already in draft mode. Our 49ers fans are already in draft mode. You're one game out of first place. It doesn't feel like that, but that's the case. It's hard for me to really quit on this team right now. It is. And I think a lot of fans are quitting on this team right now. You'll be watching. You'll still have that hope because that's what fans do. We still have hope. You don't want to say that because you don't want to get hurt, but it's there. It's innate in any, good fan. And I like to think of 49ers fans. There's a lot of smart 49er faithful out there, but you don't want to get hurt. You want to protect yourself. It's like a relationship, like any relationship, right? You just, you push them away before you can get hurt. That's what you're doing right now. You're pushing the Niners away. Oh, they're done. I'm not falling for this. I don't want to get hurt, because the worst thing you could do is have belief. Hope can drive a man crazy. What is that? Shawshank Redemption? Hope can drive a man crazy? Is that Morgan Freeman? Yeah. There is hope still. 888-957-9570. Fred Warner, the leader of that defense, especially with no Nick Bosa. Is this the worst loss that you've been a part of?
Yeah, no, that's about as bad as it can get. Probably the worst I've been a part of. And, even then it was still, 17-7. And the first half, 10-point game, still had everything in front of us. Didn't make the plays we needed to.
And that's saying something. That's the worst loss he's been a part of. Fred Warner he doesn't do sugarcoat jobs. I know that about Fred Warner.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You can sit here and do a sugarcoat job.
All right, before we got a couple minutes here, I want to squeeze in everyone as we can. 888-957-9570. JT's in the South Bay. What's going on, JT? You're on the I almost said the morning roast. Yikes. They're in 4 minutes. You're on the pregame show. What's going on, man?
Hey, good morning, brother. Yeah, man, to be honest with you, I think it's time to get rid of Shanahan. His history is where his history is at. He tends to blame everything on the offense. But the thing is, when the offense is not moving, your defense is on the field, they get tired, they get exhausted. What I see is a lot of overthinking, overcoaching, instead of putting people in position to win. These guys are normally a step or two behind where they need to be at. It's just like, hey, if you know it's cold weather, why not run the ball? You give the ball to Mason 1 yard, he runs it once for 16 yards, and you're telling me you're not going to utilize this guy to soften that defense up? Soften it up, and then you hit McCaffrey. McCaffrey's not the same. It's not even just that he's not the same. The blocking's not there either. Those little holes, that's why you're not seeing Debo do anything either. These guys that are super athletes, it's all about, X's and O's. I'm just not seeing that. When I see Shanahan coach, he's predictable. For me to be at home and tell somebody, I can tell you what he's going to do, it's so easy for a defensive coordinator to be able to understand what he's trying to do.
Well, then
why not blinker him out?
Conversely, not to cut you off there, you saw what the Packers were doing on offense on the floor. They were anything but predictable. They were doing everything. They were doing screens. They were doing reverse. They were doing everything they wanted to do.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of opportunity for the Packers just because of the sets of the defense that we're running. But for my thing is, why are we not being creative? Why are we not making choosing those type of play calls to open up space? Our thing is, let's run the left. Trent Williams is not over there. Why are you running to the left? You're not tricking nobody. Yeah. There's no tricks there. Do not run to the short side of the field when Trent Williams is not there. I like open space. And McCaffrey, I want him in open space. I understand Mason doesn't give you all that in the passing game, but let me tell you, he's still a thump. He runs, and he's going to put a thumper on you. And my thing is, a guy like that was, in week 4, week 5, was leading the NFL in rushing yards.
Yeah.
Rushing yards. And our guy is doing what? McCaffrey is nowhere to be seen. Use him as a decoy if that's the case. Use him a decoy. And that's what he should be doing. And he doesn't. Debo's out there doing nothing. Pearsall's doing nothing. You're getting zero separation from your receivers because it's the type of plays that Shanahan calls where he's like, oh, no, it's going to eliminate everything. Don't worry about this. If you throw it here, that guy should be open. No, I want my quarterback making decisions. I want him to be able to read the defense and be able to audible out of it and have those open shots. In other words, if you remove all that stuff, then you question, okay, what about Purdy? You rely on his legs then. If you're relying on his legs, that stuff doesn't last long. Guys end up getting hurt, shoulder, leg. These are the type of things that happen to your quarterback when they're out there trying to create because the play calling that's being called is not there for them.
Thanks, so, JT. Yeah, I got to get going here. JT in the South Bay. Let me squeeze in David in South San Francisco real quick. JT, you're on fire. David, what's going on, man?
Hey, good morning. Not a good game, but I saw one good run by CMC towards the end of the game. He got 12 yards or something. He kind of broke loose a little. If they could get him back to that position, blocking, or I don't know what he needs to do. But last year, he was I think Offensive Player of the Year. So we have a chance if we can get CMC back to his old self from last year. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, David. That was very short and succinct. 888-957-9570. Start lining them up for Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky because they are taking over next. Packers 38, Niners 10. We want to hear from you Niners fans all day long right here on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.